Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
Hello. This video will give you a section-wise summary of the poem The Ballad of Reading Gaol, written by Oscar Wilde. You should remember here that Reading Gaol is a former prison located in Reading, Berkshire, England. So before summary, let us have a brief introduction to the poem. The Ballad of Reading Gaol is a poem written by Oscar Wilde after he was released from Reading Gaol on May 19, 1897 while he was in exile. Wilde was sent to Reading prison after being found guilty of gross indecency with other men in 1895. He was sentenced to 2 years of hard labor. While Wilde was in prison on July 7, 1896, a hanging occurred. Charles Thomas Wooldridge, a former trooper in the Royal Horse Guards, was executed. He was convicted of murdering his wife, Laura Ellen, earlier that year near Windsor. Wooldridge was 30 years old at the time of his execution. The poem consists of 109 stanzas of 6 lines with rhyme scheme as ABCBDB. Let us now look at the summary of the poem. Section 1. The first section tells the story of a man who murders his beloved and is eventually caught. In prison, he maintains a cheerful facade but is haunted by his crime, longing for freedom. The poem explores the idea that people often harm what they love, leading to different consequences. It also delves into the grim portrayal of capital punishment, including the tense atmosphere leading up to the execution. Summary of Section 2. A guard in an old grey uniform patrols the prison yard for 6 weeks. He seems happy, but often looks at the sky, showing he wants to be free. Other prisoners notice his calmness, even though he knows he will be executed soon. When he disappears, it suggests something bad happened to him. The writer, Wilde, feels sad about the guard and the narrator's fate, feeling like they have been abandoned by society and even by God. Summary of Section 3. The third section talks about life in prison, showing how hopeless and scary it can be, especially for someone facing death. It describes the feeling of fear and sadness in the prison, made worse by the presence of the hangman. Even though the person waiting to be executed seems tough on the outside, inside they are struggling. The poem also shows how everyone in the prison feels scared as the execution gets closer, with nightmares and a sense of dread. When the execution finally happens, it is shown in a very realistic and sad way, capturing the pain of the person being executed. Summary of Section 4. The fourth section talks about a sad event, a man being executed in prison. Even though there is a chaplain there, nobody finds comfort in religion because everyone is too upset. The other prisoners watching feel scared, sorry and hopeful as they think about their own lives and what might happen to them. The poem criticizes how the man is treated like he is not human, even in his burial, and how society doesn't give him proper religious rights. But there is a bit of hope because the man finds peace in death, and it is hinted that others like him will feel sad for him, showing that even people who are often ignored or mistreated have feelings and care for each other. Summary of Section 5. This section talks about how tough and cruel life is in prison, where time feels really slow and the walls make the suffering worse. Wilde says that laws made by people unfairly label others as good or bad, especially hurting those in prison. He describes prisons as shameful places that stop Jesus from seeing how badly prisoners are treated. Inside, life is sad and evil grows because of the terrible conditions, dirty cells, bad water, not enough food, and lots of sadness. The section shows how prisoners suffer a lot emotionally and mentally, not just physically. The hard work they do each day makes them feel really sad at night, making them feel alone and broken, both in their minds and bodies. But Wilde says that suffering can make people better, like in Christian stories. He suggests that just like a broken heart can lead to finding peace with God, prisoners, no matter what they have done, can also find forgiveness and peace. Summary of Section 6. In Reading Town, a notorious prison holds a tormented man consumed by fiery pain, his grave unmarked. He is left in peace until Judgment Day, having murdered what he cherished and faced his fate. The poem reflects on how everyone, through contempt, deceit, or direct action, destroys what they hold dear, resonating with the tragic truth for all.